Hello and welcome back to Blank Explain to You. My name is Wes. I am one of the hosts on this beautiful show.
I am the other host, Drew.
Andrew, Andrew, as they say. Today we'll be talking about something very close to my heart. Something interesting. I think we're talking about jobs and interviews and kind of how to manage that and do that and all that jazz. So I think that we'll just kind of jump in and I guess talk a little bit about well, first off, for those of you who aren't watching on video because there is no video this week, we have a new setup. Got a nice desks now and some cool more of a permanent setup than the last one. So
Fancy new mics as well.
if we sound very gorgeous in your ears, that's why. Probably not me, but I'm sure Drew sounds better now. Um, I wasn't trying to roast you, and then I did. I was trying to say something nice. I just can't help but roast them. So yeah, I got a nice new setup. You guys will see it on video. Hopefully next week, and hopefully you guys can fund us by sending all your friends, and then we'll get more viewers. So
yeah.
please send to your friends so we can have a nicer setup. Let's just jump in and talk about some of the careers that we have had so far because we've had so many. I'll go ahead and just jump off. First thing I did when I was a kid was like mowing the yard at my church and shoveling the snow in the winter. So it was like $20 every time you mow and like $10 if you shovel the snow. Nothing crazy, but and then my dad made us do like half it to savings and whatever percent to the church and stuff like that. So essentially, I was paying my own salary by giving money back to the church. Sorry. That was like the first job I had, and then I got a job catering at college in town, and that was so much fun. I sound so dead saying that. But I had catering. That was right before
so
COVID.
much fun. I swear, please fund us catering.
Sponsored by catering. No. And then I had catering. Then I did, that was during COVID, right before catering, right when catering was happening. So right when catering was done it was like 2020. I got let go in like February or March or something. Me and my brother both were working there at the time, and we both got let go. And then I didn't really have any work for the summer of that year or anything, so it's kind of weird. But I got a job at a local coffee shop type place, kind of Panera, but not Panera. I worked there for about a year. No, not even a year. And then I worked at a restaurant with Drew. I worked there for almost a year straight, and Drew was kind of on and off.
Yeah, going on 2 years. My last day's Friday.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
And then after that, I actually had a job. I was like an IT help desk student worker at the college I went to, and then now, but I'm currently what?
Did that last like 2 weeks?
As a month, yeah.
Okay, I don't remember you being.
I had it, and then
I would not remember that.
yes, I had it. I got it. I was like, oh, that's so
funny.
cool. And so I like halftime at a Beer Barrel restaurant, and then halftime or full time it paid like $9 an hour. So I was like, worked as much as I could, but I still do Beer Barrel. And then like 3 weeks later, I got my current job, which is in retail technology. I'm a IT support specialist for a grocery chain.
Specialist? How'd you earn that?
I've always been a specialist. A support specialist.
It's a hoax.
I'm not a specialist. I know nothing. I got that. I've been that. My year anniversary's in like a week, so that's my career in a nutshell so far. Drew, what about you? What have you done? Cleaning the church.
I did. So when I was like 11, I was a custodian. Thank you.
sorry. I didn't do the official terminologies. Custodian of the grounds. Forgive me.
Of a church. And I did that for a long time. So pretty much from like 11, I'd go clean once or twice a week. Like, I don't know, do nothing. And I did that for 5 years.
Yeah, that was how we funded our entire Taco Bell.
Yeah, we spent all of my like $20 a week.
And we as a group spent Drew's money at Taco Bell. That was the thing. It wasn't anything else.
That was it. Until 16.
Until I quit.
I'm still there, guys, right now.
Yeah, full time now.
Yeah, so then I left there and I went to the cafeteria at the college.
Same one that I did catering at, but I was in catering, so I was better.
Yeah, and I was there for like technically 9 months, but I didn't work the summer. So,
yeah.
And I worked like twice a week during classes, so not very much. I didn't like it a whole lot. So I left there to go to Subway, and then I worked Subway from like December to July, and then I moved for college. Didn't work my first semester.
Didn't you apply to Subway?
I applied at a Subway in my college town, and I moved, and they said no. So
Well,
like they just didn't call me
was
back.
that the one that called you back like half a year later?
That was Panera.
Oh.
Actually. Yeah, and that was a full 13 months later.
Because we were living together when you
13
weren't
months later, they said, yeah, are you interested in a job? That is insane.
You're like, no.
No,
dude."
not at all. Yeah, that was funny. So it didn't work, and then I got a job at a prescription supply place.
You're a druggie?
I sold drugs in a warehouse. It's
My drug
crazy.
dealer was a doctor. His name was Drew.
Worked there for a total of probably 8 weeks. Got sent home for COVID. So I couldn't really do anything about it. Went home for COVID and then did college online. Didn't work for a year in college and then started at Beer Barrel.
Right, so we started in...
So 3 restaurants, a prescription place, and a custodian. Diverse experience.
And he somehow... Here's the funny thing about Drew. So, over the summer, he worked at Beer Barrel, right, of 2021. And we worked together that summer. Great summer. That's the summer that we directed that show at the theater, if you listen to the theater episode. So we kind of would go to Beer Barrel in the morning, and then we'd go straight to the theater and spend the rest of our, until 2 in the morning there. But Drew worked all summer, right? And so did I. And somehow, he didn't have a job for, from August to May. And we lived together at that point. We ended up moving in together after we worked that summer. And he didn't have a single job, but still somehow paid his rent and everything. He had no issues for, that. I was like, dude.
Actually,
I had to work. I had no money.
and then I interned. So,
Yeah.
I didn't run out of that money. That was from summer of 21. I earned a total. I got my taxes. So in the year 2022, I made under $1,000.
Dude, I don't know
I
how.
I picked up a couple of shifts.
Yeah.
But no, I made under $1,000. So part of it was saved up.
Yeah.
Part of it, I got some scholarship money and stuff from the college or whatever. That didn't run out until December. I just started in January of 23.
It made me laugh so hard. I was like, dude, I'm out here working. I was working 30, 35 hours a week at that restaurant. There was a branch up where we lived in college, and I was working. And I was like, how does this guy got nothing? He does not have to work a day in his life, and he can still. It was really funny.
A lazy bum, as they say.
Yeah, they call it. Dude,
I did work 2 days there.
He did. I forgot about that. But because originally, this is just a funny little tangent. When we were in the Beer Barrel, when we were getting ready to move about an hour north of the store that we worked at, there's a store up there in that neck of the woods, 20 minutes from where we were going to live. And our regional manager asked Drew, hey, do you want to transfer to that store? You're really good. We want you to be there. You're the best ever, pretty much. And Drew's like, oh, yeah, totally, I'll go. And I was like, yo, I want to do that, too. So I had to approach him and ask, beg him to let me go there. And he's like, yeah, okay, we'll let you go. And I ended up working, I started before Drew over there because he didn't need to.
Yeah.
And then, and I worked my butt off. And then, Drew comes in, a month later, works, 2 days, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
And just didn't show up ever again. I was like, dude, you're the guy that they begged to come, and I was just some random guy. Like, yeah, you can come, I guess.
And then I went back to this store in our hometown, and that's where I'm at now. And I'm still the favorite.
He still is. I was the favorite at the store I worked at. I just want to say that.
Yeah. It also made me sound really lazy, I didn't want to do anything. I was in college.
Yeah, he had 18 credit hours, and I went to a community college. He went to an actual college, so that was probably some of the.
There's nothing wrong with community college, Wes.
Dude, you don't go to community college. There is something wrong. No, I'm kidding.
I don't support the Big E.
Big E is my mascot. Big education, so. I prefer to Big Pharma, but you got Big Education on my neck of the woods, so that's fun. So anyways, that was. I've always been a little bit obsessed with work, you could say. I've probably worked a lot more than I should have at times, and that's my own fault. But
we've talked about work a lot too much. Probably every one of our friends has been stop talking about.
When we worked together at Beer Barrel, at the same time, even when we spent all day together, and when still go and hang out and talk about work.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, we got to get a life. All we do is talk about where we work.
And it wasn't even like amazing. It was just like, haha, remember this time that
It
we,
just-
it was like, I don't know.
It was funny too, because we had like a decent part of our friend group ended up working there that
Yeah.
summer. So it was like me, Drew, and a few other people that we were good friends with and hung out with a lot that summer. And so and all we do, we'd go get off work, go hang out, talk about work, go home, go back to work, talk about work. It was just work central. It was insane.
So, back on track.
Sorry, yeah. That was one of my best summers of my life, though, because of the working with your boys is always fun.
It's a good time. Come work with me now.
No. Oh, now, well, tell them what you're doing now.
Oh, I'm a sheriff's deputy now. So, that will be more fun. I'm going to the academy. So,
In about a week or two, so.
um,
Congratulations.
thank you. So that'll be a little more fun, I think. Probably a lot more stressful, but same thing. Let's talk about some of the interviews. First off, have you ever had any that like you felt really bad about?
Okay, so the only actual like interview I've had two actual interviews I felt like, oh my gosh, I have to actually try. And that was my two IT jobs. The other one's just like a restaurant. I just kind of went in there like, yeah, okay, you're hired. You don't have any felonies. You're
And what's
good.
stupid about that is Wes and I both worked in kitchens. We applied. I think we interviewed the same day.
Yeah.
Maybe a day apart.
Yeah.
Like really close. The store just opened and everything, and we both applied. They put Wes on pizzas and me on dishes. And I was like, darn.
Drew felt
I didn't
snubbed
like.
of the glory.
Yeah, like what? Pizzas is where the cool people are. Now
Yeah.
it's not. But
No. I'm
I
also, in fact about that, I'm also, I have celiac disease, so being around flour is really bad for me. And I worked in pizzas and in dough. Like, we made all of our dough in-house. And so that was not the best environment for me to be in, but it was fun.
so Wes should have been in dishes.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It should, and Drew's the one that ended up with a rash and not me. Drew ended up being like allergic to the soap or something.
yeah. So oh well, good time.
Anyway, yeah, no interviews. Look, all the first interview for catering, I knew my brother worked there, so it was kind of just come sign paperwork and get the job. I didn't interview. Same with Cozy, the Panera type place. I was at the same people that like the food company that owned all the food stuff at the college. These same people, so like it wasn't an interview. And then Beer Barrel again was just kind of like come in, like, oh, why do you want to work here? Oh, I just need a job. Okay, cool. And then the IT stuff is more of a like sit down, like let's talk about it, like what do you know about this and that. And thankfully, both those were pretty like we don't expect you to know a ton. Like we're gonna teach you a lot of it. I felt both of them. I felt like pretty decent after. I didn't feel like I bombed that because it wasn't like how do you do this
Right.
certain code or things like that. It was kind of just like do you know anything about computers? Are you savvy with technology at all and stuff like that? And I was able to, I have been my whole life, so I was able to all the really simple stuff I was able to talk about. I didn't feel like I'm never gonna get that. What about you?
I mean, I've had some easier ones. Like, I actually applied to work at the ice skating rink in our college town, and I got the job and then didn't take it. So
Was there an interview in that?
yeah, I did interview and they asked me if I knew how to ice skate, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you? And like, right now, I'd probably put myself at like a good 7.5.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fall over if I don't try to do a cool trick or anything.
Right.
Like, I'm definitely above average.
Yeah.
But like, I'm by no means like a figure skater.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I would be able to be a skate guard, help people up if they fell, teach like 6-year-olds how to skate, but I couldn't like make a show for anybody.
You didn't know that you have to be a figure
so-
skater on the side. To
Yeah,
get it?
so that was like a weird question.
Yeah.
Probably the weirdest I've been asked in an interview. Do
Really?
you know how to ice skate? Like,
One time, Kaylee, my wife, was asked to.
who?
My wife, I'm married. She was asked to sing in an interview at a Big B. So
What?
they were like, I want you to sing me a song, whatever you want. And
I would not get the job.
so she did, and I was like, dude, I don't think
No,
I would have, because they were just. I think they were trying to see like, can you just like put yourself out there and be comfortable and stuff.
No.
It was so weird.
No, I mean, in any conversation, sure. Singing? No.
Hey, Drew, sing a song right now.
No.
Oh,
Like, I'm nervous. I'm sweating so bad now.
dude, he's sweating.
I
You
got
can't. You guys can't see right now, but he's bright red sweating. So yeah, I mean that is a weird question for. No, that's a normal question. How good can you skate?
Yeah, I mean,
Dude, if you're a skate guard, how good can you skate?
I
Oh,
wasn't
I
applying
would.
to be a skate guard. I was applying to do the concessions.
Oh, really?
So I didn't expect a skate guard. You know what I
I
mean?
didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why it was like, oh, cool. And he's like, you could do that too if you know how to skate. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, weird questions. I mean, I was. I don't. There's nothing I was like, oh my gosh, that is the weirdest. Like, I don't know. There's
Yeah.
never any. None, and also like none of those like weird like sing a song is also normal for me. That it's kind of like well, that's dumb. It makes it hard to podcast about this 2 years later, but
right. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
anything. I guess let's go into like a more objective.
Sure,
There's a lot of
sure.
experience. And I guess I'll touch on. I interviewed for a large city department, and I had a board interview me. It was like a lieutenant, HR, a sergeant, and a another sergeant. So like that was my scariest interview probably.
So when you're interviewing to be like any sort of officer in the law, like what does that even look like? What do they ask you? Is it like a formal interview that you would do in a different job? Is it similar to that?
It's similar but longer, and like you have to do a lot of things to get there. So for me, it was a multiple choice exam. It was like high school equivalency. Make sure that you know how to write a paper.
Yeah.
And then they have something called an SRA. And again, this is bigger cities that'll do this. And it's like a situational response. So you watch a video and you respond to how you would in real life. And that was terrible. I hated that because it was just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then when I passed both of those, I did a physical fitness exam, just had to run and stuff, push-ups, sit-ups. After both of those, I did a polygraph, and then I had to write an autobiography of my entire life in 1,000 words. I'm like, what's important?
Yeah.
Did I write down, like, when I was 4, I broke my arm because my sister pushed me off a bunk bed?
When I was
like,
9, Wes pushed my
like,
treehouse over.
how much do you want to hear here?
Yeah.
So I just talked about, like, work experiences and relationships with other people and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm close with my parents,
Sure.
Stuff like
Sure.
that. And then, so that was the polygraph and the background check. That was interesting. And then I had a formal sit down with those 4 people. And then I had a psych evaluation and a medical evaluation. And that took forever. Both of those took 4 hours. So,
The psych and the
I'm sorry.
interview.
The medical eval did, and the multiple choice.
Like a
test.
medical eval, is that like a medical?
No, the psych eval's mental. So like
yeah,
it's just
that's dumb. That's a
like
dumb
let me
question.
check your lungs, let me check your heart. So I had to do like an
That took like 4 hours.
EKG. I had to do like the breath test where you like blow really hard, and I almost failed
breathalyzer.
that.
Right. Are you drunk on the interview right now?
Are you drunk in the office? No, and I failed that a lot. It wasn't great.
The
They're like,
breathalyzer. You feel the
they're like, you have
breathalyzer.
one more chance to get this, and kind of.
You're not.
Just said
You're not
that's
even gonna
good
joke about the breathalyzer right now.
No, not the breathalyzer.
It does sound like
No. Yeah, they're like, hey, bud, you are really
You went-
drunk in the office.
you went. I failed that one. I'm talking about breathalyzer.
No,
Yeah, so I
the
failed that one,
breathing
and then
test.
they asked. They told me, God, I had to make sure.
You have to like breathe out really hard, like, and then hold it as long as you can. And it has to be a certain projection in the first breath, and then you have to hold it for a certain amount of time. And I couldn't get it.
What there was? They say like you have to hold this for 10
Yes.
seconds.
It was like breathe as hard as you can. It had to hit a line. You could watch it like kind of like our voices do. And
Yeah.
it had to hit a line, and then you had to hold it for 4 more seconds, and that's hard to do.
Wait.
And
Okay.
so like, but like for a long time.
Was it 4 seconds?
It was probably 8 or 9.
Let me
was
try
long.
it. Try it. How loud do you have it?
This high.
Oh, okay, all right. 2 inches high.
Like almost as hard as you can.
Well, I'm trying to get.
See, that was me. And then they're like, you suck at this. It's hard. It is.
That is a lot harder than it seems.
And it really. So
Everybody try that right now. Go this high and then.
Last chance, and then like, okay, good enough. And I was like, cool. And then.
What does that measure? Like just how?
What?
Does that measure like physical fitness?
Well, if your lungs aren't working properly, that'd be an issue.
Gotcha.
And then I had to run on a treadmill, and they measured like O2 and VO2s. Like,
Was that the stress test thing?
Yeah. Where
Okay.
they put the stuff on. Yeah, that was.
So pretty much they just stress your body out.
Yeah,
see how you
you just
react.
get on a treadmill. They watch your heart and your breathing and your oxygen levels while you're running. Um, the guy there was kind of funny because he was like, um, just weird. He made a lot of comments that he shouldn't about
Oh
like
my.
candidates, and he was just not very nice.
Oh,
And he
gotcha.
told me he's like, it's a pass fail. So once like, just remember that you can quit whenever you want, and I'll let you know like you can quit whenever you want. So I ran for like 13 minutes,
Hmm.
and then he's like, just remember you can quit, and I was like, cool, and I was
Nice.
so worked for me. I was gonna go all day. So
Yeah.
um, and then at the sheriff's office that I'm at, I did a voice stress analysis instead of a polygraph.
Hmm.
I did a background check. I interviewed with let me think, three sergeants, no lieutenants or HR.
Gotcha.
And then they asked questions as well. So,
Just the voice stress analysis
yeah,
less technically like not by much, but technically less effective than a polygraph.
I believe, and that's not my expertise, I believe it's more likely to miss a lie when you tell it, but it's less
Mm.
likely to red flag something that is true.
Oh, gotcha.
So it depends on really what you're looking for. Like, you could probably beat one easier, like lie
Yeah.
to it, but you won't get flagged for telling the truth. So I was a lot more comfortable with that than I was a polygraph.
Really.
Yeah, it was. In the polygraph, you have like a heart monitor on your
Mm-hmm.
finger, like things for perspiration. You are sitting on a weight, like
Ooh, see if you cleaned your butt.
yeah, and then if you move around, it'll like it's a sensor,
Yeah.
and then like a weird thing to measure your breathing to make sure you don't hold your breath and stuff. And I held my breath too much. So
No.
let's get to like the objective. What's some good advice for interviews?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing depending on your job is to this is gonna be dumb, but just be prepared. You know.
Yeah.
And do research on the company you're applying at. You know, if you're applying at a grocery chain, you know, read up on what that chain does, what stores they have, you know, and all that different stuff. Like going into mine, let's just take mine. I should have known that we have 100 stores under our banner.
Yeah.
Going in, I probably would have guessed like 30. You know,
Right.
like I should have known that had I been prepared, which I wasn't. Right. So I think the biggest thing is just kind of researching on where you are interviewing and just understanding sort of what they're asking of you and all that. Which I think it just goes, and I think it goes for a long, like it shows a lot about you too if you can have a conversation about the company.
Right.
Or even like, oh, do you have any questions? Oh, well, like I told the company recently bought another store, you know, tell me
Yeah.
more about that and things like that. I think that shows that, oh, well, this guy cares a little bit. I think an example is we recently hired a guy who went for a different job in the company, but he did like a PowerPoint presentation on how he would improve our customer service thing when he went for a customer service manager job, and we ended up wanting him in our department. But you know, this big PowerPoint on it, and like that really showed his like, oh, he's really prepared, and he just like has a goal and some different things he wants to implement. And I think that was a cool way of just showing he was prepared and all that. Excuse me. I think too. I don't know. What do you think? I think be prepared's a big one.
I think especially if it's something smaller, if you're in a big chain,
Uh huh.
like if I want, and I'll say, like prerequisites of your job are important too.
Yeah.
So like know what's expected of you. I can't apply to be like an astrophysicist. And if I did and I show up and they're like, hey, tell me about this, I can't.
Yeah.
So, if it's like an entry level job where you don't need to know anything, it's all on the job training.
Yeah.
Know about the company, but don't necessarily know about your job. If you're going for something that requires you to know stuff, know it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that simple.
Yeah. Or I think that if you let's say go for like a coding job, you would be expected to know how to code, and they would ask
Right.
you, well, can't like you know I think that a thing in that type of job like computer coding is they'll ask you like, okay, here's the issue, solve it. You know, then you have an hour to.
Do they like write the prompts in binary and you just have to like read it like Braille? You just see like the numbers and they're like, oh yeah, that's the questions.
I mean, they could. Reading binary isn't even that hard. I did know how to read a little. I can read a
Yeah.
little. Because
It's so weird.
binary, it's kind of just like a code. You know,
Right.
binary. I don't know if you're doing like 16 digits are like 18 or like
Yeah.
32 or 64 is the big difference, is a big one. So
Yeah.
32 is there's like 32-bit operating system, 64-bit operating system, and so that pretty much just knows that in the span of zeros and ones, any sort of pattern go up to 64 to make one symbol. If it's like a 64-bit system. So that being said, like 64 different letters to mean A, or 64 different
Right.
numbers. You just have to know the order of. And it is kind of easy. You can like break it down to like just same with like 32. You know, it would just be like, okay, so 001 is a 1, or like is a means 2 or whatever. So 001, whatever it is. You can break it down like code, and it's not that hard
Good.
if you know how to do
And,
it. That doesn't matter right now. I could also be wrong. I took a class on it. Like, isn't one of my classes I got on.
I thought at a good community college. Right?
Yeah, right. And I did it, and I just kind of like forgot about it. So I might be a little mistaken on
That's fair.
that. But disclaimer: we're not experts. Who knew?
Oh yeah. Shocker.
Anyway, so yeah, I think in coding ones they'll often ask like, okay, code this, and then you have like an hour to fix the issue and code
Okay.
and code a solution.
Yeah.
Just have an example like don't apply for a senior level programming job if you don't know how to program. But that being said, I think there is something to be said like it's okay to apply like bigger than what you know,
Right.
especially for people that learn easily. Yeah. So like I could apply for like a more senior level IT job, and I'm probably not qualified for it. But like you know what I'm saying? Like I have a friend who doesn't like if there's one thing that's he doesn't know, or there's one thing that's like, well, I don't meet that, he won't apply for the job. And I'm like, dude, just apply for it.
Let them say no. Don't say it.
Exactly. So if they think, and a lot of times like they'll post like, oh, we need this. In reality, they need one of those things. They just try to find someone who's really cool.
Right. And if you have a good work ethic and you want to learn, most places would take that over any kind of knowledge you have.
Excuse me. Example of that is Kaylee just got a job in the library. My wife. Not the library, it's my wife. So Kaylee just got a job at a library, and
Congrats.
Thank you.
Not you.
Oh.
I know she'll listen later.
Yeah, right. Congratulations, Kaylee. We love you. I do. Drew doesn't. Anyway, excuse me. She got a job, and in the description it said, we want you to have a degree in either library science, education, like 3 different things that she didn't have a degree in. She applied anyways, and she got the job, and she has a degree, just not in one of those things. So, but it was their decision, Yeah. So I think, know your limit. Obviously, I'm not gonna go apply to be like a senior, like an FBI manager right now. You know what I mean? I've know nothing about that, right? But within my field or whatever, it's okay for me to apply for something, even if I'm not.
I would say, like, realistically, just a step above where you're at now.
Yeah.
I don't have any experience in law enforcement. I can't apply to be a sergeant. Mm-hmm. But I would say applying to be a deputy is a step above where I am now.
Right.
Hey, train me. Cool.
Mm-hmm. I think people a lot of times are scared to apply for something for whatever reason. And I really just believe that, like, the worst, they're not going to, you don't have, like, a limit of jobs you can apply for, or anything like that. Like, you could apply to every single job you see on Indeed and get one of them, and if they don't even reach out back to you, like, that's on them and whatever. And I see no harm in applying for jobs even if you're not qualified at all.
Yeah, and it's similar with grad schools as well. Like, be fairly qualified, especially because you do pay to apply. Mm-hmm. But like, if something is relative to your field and it's definitely in your interest, like, go for that as well.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So yeah, I think interviewing is obviously every job that you are going to be considered for, most likely have an interview unless there's some different test or some sort of.
I think a couple of things about interviews that I specifically find helpful. First, ask them questions. Yeah. You'll probably surprise them every single time. If you can say, hey, I saw blank. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? I saw that, your company's downsizing 3 positions. Why is that? Yeah. Is this going to lead to complications later? Like, that shows you know something about it.
You dummy! Drew just knocked over a curtain in my room, so thanks, Drew. Appreciate that.
But it shows that you know something about it.
Sorry. And now the neighbor dog's barking at you, bro. Nice.
But it also like kind of makes them know that you care enough.
Yeah.
I did that in interviews, and they all responded fairly well to it. The one guy's like, "Wait a minute, I'm not the one in the hot seat." It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Ask them their favorite part of their job
Yeah.
because they'll think of something. Plus you also know what's good about it.
Yeah.
For me, I asked like, "What's the hardest part of starting here?" Is there something that made you want to quit in your first day? And they said paperwork. So
Nice.
you'll get good advice, and you'll also show that you care enough. Second, I had a second point, and I don't think I do.
Well, on that one, I think there's like the basic sort of things that everybody like. Oh, is there room for advancement or things like that? That's like aren't very original and
Yeah,
nothing against those, but I think it does show if you do something like company specific is really
yeah,
sort of impressive. That just it's not just some guy who
right.
whatever.
And it shows that you care about the position you're applying for. If I sit
Yeah.
down and I say, "Hey, I'm going to be Mr. IT guy Wes. Hey, so when can I be your boss?" I don't like to hear that.
Right.
I mean that I don't like to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit down and say, "I've worked hard for 7 years to get here. How can I take your job?" That's not
Right.
a very good. I get it, like saying, and usually if they have a lot of room for advancement, they brag about those things if they want you.
Right.
Where I'm working, they're like, "Hey, here's every one of our special teams. In 2 years, you're allowed to apply to get there."
Yeah.
And they have talked a ton because they really love their special teams. So I didn't have to ask, and it doesn't really show like I'm not happy with what you're offering. I want what's next.
Right.
So that's fair. But yeah, my second point was going to be don't give cliche answers. Everyone wants, if they say, "Why do you," I heard it all the time, "Why do you want to work at blank city or
Yeah.
blank county?" And I could sit here and say, "Well, I really care about this city that I've never lived in
Yeah.
and I'm moving,
Yeah.
or I just love this and that." So does everyone else. Boo hoo. Say something original. Give an honest answer. Just be yourself. If you're just applying for a job for the money, you could say a little more than that. Why? But I think even to that extent, if I'm applying for a job in construction just for money, why don't I apply for a job in pizzas? Well, construction is more interesting to me.
Right.
Or there's something more there, or you would get any job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least try your best. If you don't care about the job at all, that's fine. Make it up.
Just don't say, "Oh, I don't really care. I just want some money."
But yeah, definitely try not to just give cliche answers. And if you do, give an explanation as to why you actually believe those cliche
Right.
answers.
Like, oh, I just love the community. Like,
Right.
why? Well, why? I don't know. Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
I think giving some, that's a good point. Just being yourself is so big on that too. Because there's no point to like, oh, I feel like I have to impress this person, so I shouldn't just act like myself and do these things. Like,
Right.
if you, think a certain way or you want a certain thing, just I think it goes a lot to show that if you just be clear about that and just be upfront. And
Yeah.
I think there's respect in that, especially depending on who you're interviewing with. I think that
Yeah.
a lot of times they'll be like, oh well, I didn't get my 18th interview of the day, and give me just the same BS answer. They
Right.
gave me an actual like, oh that guy's different, and then they remember
Yeah.
you. It's the same thing like when you're doing like an audition for a movie or something. Like they encourage you to do something like original so that you don't fall into the same rank as everybody else.
For sure. I think a question I get asked sometimes like that, why do you want to work here, is definitely one. Where will you be in 5 years is a question a lot of people don't like.
Yeah.
Don't make it up. To me,
Yeah.
they asked me that, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? And I said, I don't have any plans for 5 to 10 years because it probably won't happen that way with the state I'm in. I said, I just got out of college. I'm just now starting a new job. I don't have like my own house yet. Like,
Yeah.
I am in the most like life-changing moments of my life in the next 3 months
Yeah.
that I don't have a 5-year plan. Will I, I said what I want to do in the long run, retire and go back to school while I'm working here and like stuff like that.
Right.
I have long goals, but I don't know what's happening in 5 years.
Yeah.
So they appreciated that I was honest. I didn't say, "Oh, I'm giving my entire life to this."
Right, to this job. I want
to this job in this community, and like I can't wait to work here forever. Like I was honest. I said, "I don't know where I'll be in 5 years. I'm contracting for 3. You'll have me for that, and then I don't know if it's great. I'll stay, and if it's not, I'll move on." So
Yeah.
be honest there.
Yeah, interviews are crazy, and just be normal, be cool. You know, don't I don't know. Just yeah, be yourself. Try push yourself. If you're like someone who's more quiet, do your best to try and talk more and
Yeah.
just try and push yourself a little bit on things where you know that you have some like an issue with.
It's okay to talk about your qualifications as well. You're not
Yeah.
bragging if you're telling them what you're able and
Yeah, in an
capable of
interview,
doing.
you're not
If you say,
bragging.
and genuinely mean what you say, don't give cliche answers. If I
Yeah.
say, oh, I'm a fast learner and I know how to use Microsoft Word,
Yeah,
you are no different than 99% of people.
Yeah.
Because most people claim that and aren't. If you're genuinely a fast learner, give an example of a time that,
you learned
right?
that. Yeah,
But if you're not, don't play into it as if you are. Because they're going to be annoyed later
when you aren't what you
when
said.
you're not what
yeah.
you said. Yeah. Let's touch on resumes. You ever built a resume?
Yeah, I have found useful. There's like I like to do them online on like there's some websites.
Yeah.
Like a resume, I think resumebuilder.com is one,
Uh-huh.
It's nice because it'll like format it really nicely and it looks really pleasing, not just some like bullet points in Word or anything. So I like to use those. And it gives you, if you put it in your job title, it'll give you some sort of like,
Yeah.
here's like 4 or 5 different examples on what you could say on like what
Yeah.
you did.
That's why
It
I
makes
say
it
custodian, not a church clerk.
right, and it makes it sound a little bit better too. Like, okay, you're a custodian who vacuumed the floor, so
Right.
it'll kind of make it seem more like, oh, he was a custodian and I managed cleaning and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It helps boost your resume up a little bit, and
Yeah.
I personally use those. All of them are paid, like pay $3 to get the resume. Just screenshot it and then like save it as a PDF. Nobody will know. This cool thing on every computer called print to PDF.
That's funny.
Do that. Don't pay. There's no reason
That's
to pay
funny.
for it.
I made mine on Microsoft Word. It's really
Bruh.
cringy. But
I'm cringing. I think Microsoft Word does have some built-in.
they
resume
had
building
templates
tools.
that I kind of looked at and then
Yeah.
just based it on. I didn't use a template.
Another one you could use you could probably do ChatGPT if
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, here's my life story.
You
It'll
have to
actually
write
write
the whole
out
thing,
the
but-
ending for you. So if
Tell you
you,
how to end your life. Wait. Yeah, it's telling me how to be done. But no. Yeah, I mean, I personally, as someone who like looks, I like to find the easy way to do things.
Yeah.
And so something like that is pretty much like put your information in, and it'll give you some different templates that you can pick from,
right.
and do some of that more like just annoying labor intensive work of like, oh well, which font should I use or which color on this thing and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I find those things to be something that can like kind of elevate the resume, so it's definitely worth it. And two, I think like if you're looking for a new job, it's totally worth it to invest in a nice resume. If you're gonna sit down and apply to 15 jobs,
Yeah.
I think it's worth it to go through and do that. And also another reason why I like the online stuff is it knows what to put in a resume, so it's
Yeah.
not, so it kind of walks through, okay, well you need qualifications, work experience, and
Yeah.
this. I would say I would suggest to always do a cover letter if you can.
Yeah.
I think that kind of just again shows a little bit more of a
Unless it requests like a single page resume.
right.
There are my application process is mainly for grad schools, and they're so strict on exactly what they want. We want a cover letter and a 1-page resume.
Right.
We want a CV. We want
Yeah.
research, and those are going to be a lot different than jobs because they care about you being academically involved.
Mm-hmm.
They care about GPA. What you did, volunteer work. How do you help the community? Things like that. Your job doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a degree, you got a degree, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Very, very few of them will check your GPA, and even less will care. So,
Right.
but important to know, definitely look up what should a resume or a CV look like for grad school versus a job. What does it look
Right.
like in the tech industry? What are expectations? I
Yeah.
mean, Google has a lot. Your friends and people in that profession will know more.
Right.
Like, there's a
what
lot
is this?
of
What are they looking for?
yeah. And then if you know any what's the jargon? Yeah, jargon is what it is. I had to
Yeah.
think about it.
I guess it is.
Like in that field, know that too.
Yeah, if
be
you
thrown
can.
off by something of what So.
Yeah, I think that's good. So obviously, most places. And a little tidbit I think that's good to remember is that it's really like things like Indeed or like Google Jobs or whatever that is are really useful on finding a job. But I always suggest applying on the company website
Yeah.
or actually like emailing it to a real person because those are often kind of more. It's just not as I don't know.
Here's an awkward story for you.
Oh
I was applying for jobs a little while back, and just for a temporary job for 4 or 5 months between college and where I'm at now. And I applied to like probably 6 places on Indeed. I got a call from someone who said, "Hey, I saw your application on Indeed. Want to know if you want to set up an interview." I don't know who this is.
yeah,
I have no idea what this company is or what they do.
Right.
Nothing. I know that it was like a security position for a
yeah,
place. And I said, sure, I'll set up an interview.
Right.
I looked up the number, had to get on Indeed to find out which company it was that I just said yes to an interview to
Oh my
because I had no
goodness.
idea who just called me.
jeez.
So it might help to write down the phone numbers of where they are or just know,
Right, it's
more than
nobody-
the name of the company. So that was embarrassing.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I think I've always found just applying on the site or emailing it to someone real is you have a lot
Yeah.
better chance A being found, and B just kind of it stands out a little bit, and it feels more personal too for them. It's like, oh, he didn't find me on, they like found me on the, I don't know, it
Yeah.
just feels a little more natural and stuff.
A couple more things.
Yeah.
References. Always have 3 references.
You think in any job you should have a
Every job. I don't care if you want to be a bouncer at a bar, getting paid cash under the table. References.
Yeah.
They matter. Don't put your roommate. Don't put your best friend.
Didn't you put me on
Put
yours?
someone with,
Did you put me on yours for the police stuff? Am I right?
I had 7 references.
Oh, I didn't even
There's
make
a
the
lot.
cut. Didn't even make the cut, guys.
No.
I swore somebody said they put me on something.
Maybe I did,
don't know.
but I
Probably,
don't
maybe
think
for
I'm
grad. Did you for grad
I
school?
put your wife's dad as a reference.
Yeah, for grad school. Yeah.
And for this job here.
Oh, yeah?
He's one of my 7, yeah.
See, he made it, but I didn't. Look at that.
Yeah.
He's a
He
good guy, though.
has
That's
work
why.
experience.
He does.
And would probably say nicer things than you would.
Dude, do not hire him. He is the worst. One he would really like listen to this podcast.
The other, probably one of the most important things in an interview. Like, you could say a lot of dumb stuff. and
Yeah.
still dress appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
for
care.
Sure.
To show up to Beer Barrel, our restaurant,
Yeah.
wasn't too worried about not getting a job. It was like their first weekend of being open, and we came
Right.
to, they needed people so badly. If you had 2 feet and a heartbeat, you're hired.
Feet in a heartbeat.
And at the least, put on a polo and some khakis. Probably wear a dress shirt of some sort, a button up of something, look decent.
A story on that, actually. I remember, I don't know if you were there. You were there, I think. But the company I work for now, Drew's girlfriend is, her dad is pretty up in the company. He's, whatever. He's been with the company he started out as like a bagger in the grocery store and now is pretty high up in the company. And so, obviously he has some decision on if people get hired or not. I mean, I remember that we were with him and his family, and we were at one of the stores, we're gonna cook something, so we're all together, get some groceries and stuff. And as we were walking out, a kid was also, or I think he's walking in or something.
Yeah.
Walking out for an interview, and he was all dressed up in I think it was a suit and
He was wearing a dress shirt and a tie.
right.
And he didn't have a jacket, but he's wearing a suit.
Right, all that stuff in there, and I remember Sawyer's dad turned around and went and told the manager "Hey, hire that guy right now. I don't care.
Yeah.
Nobody shows up for that anymore.
Right.
He obviously
Yeah.
is a little bit more mature and knows
Yeah.
what he's doing. So he literally got the job because he looked.
Yeah.
He looked the part.
Didn't even have to say good morning.
Right.
It was just so. And I've seen on the flip side of that, people show up for interviews for police departments
Yeah.
in basketball shorts.
Yeah.
You're not getting hired.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you are expected to wear business casual to work
Where
every day,
Right.
if you're in the offices, you're wearing a suit every day. You're gonna wear basketball shorts to ask for a job.
Yeah.
You're not getting hired. A side note: if you ever go to court, wear a suit
Yeah.
or something nice,
I
not
did.
basketball shorts.
I did when I went to court a couple weeks ago.
Wes is actually headed to jail here soon.
Yeah, actually, I committed a felony, so I'll see you guys later. Doing the podcast from one of the phones in jail.
Bring the mic, stick it over like the
Yeah,
on the
and
table. You know,
that's something I feel like just dressing the part or something. I don't know why, but I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's something I've always thought to do. But like even next weekend, I'm going to do a director's interview to direct a show at Community
Right.
Theater. Again, listen to the theater episode for more info. But like that's people I know really well, and like I'm friends with all of them. They know me, and like we've worked together on a ton of stuff. So like I'm not too worried about if they would or wouldn't give me something, depending on how I look. But I'm still gonna dress up. You know, I'm gonna dress nice and wear a suit jacket and stuff because it's an interview. You know, and I think just getting in the mindset of if I'm doing something where people are judging me, you know, in a way, dress up. You know, dress the part, dress nice. Whatever
and
it is.
a good shave and a haircut never hurts either.
Are you trying to say something
interview all
about?
the
You trying to
time.
say something about my shave, Drew?
No.
Wait, look at my haircut. Got a haircut the other day.
It looks like you've been wearing a hat for 11 hours.
So then I guess we'll touch on one final. I think just getting the job. I think you should always, no matter what job you have, work your butt off.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting paid to be there. And something that kind of makes me mad is the people that go, you know, I've worked a lot in the restaurant industry, and people go, well, if they only want to pay me, you know, $10 an hour, I'm gonna work like I'm being paid $10 an hour. I'm not gonna work hard. I'm gonna whatever. It's like, dude, you're not gonna ever move up in this. Like nothing. Like even and then as well, if you went to apply to a new job, they call, like, let's say your previous employer, you go, yeah, no, this guy is lazy. He doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, sure, he gets the stuff done, but he's lazy and just,
Right.
no, don't hire him.
And it starts, I mean, it's just, if this job that you have in the food industry or cleaning your church or whatever you're doing
Yeah.
is a stepping stone for you, that's fine. Most people
Yeah.
take a job in,
Yeah.
high school, college and figure that out. This is practice.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Even when you make $26 an hour, you get used to it, and you still don't want to work.
Yeah.
It's simply good practice.
Yeah.
You start working hard at work, and people know.
Well, I mean, a very good example of this is Drew, his first day at the restaurant that we worked together, Beer Barrel.
I got hired on the dishes, and they moved me to pizzas.
And they literally, because he was working so hard, like, we're going to give you a raise, first day.
Yeah.
Because he was just
$2.
He was just working his butt off, you know? And that really, and obviously I was being lazy because I didn't get anything, ever. And so, but they were like, when they saw he was working hard, I said, you know, we see that, and, you know, we're going to give you a raise. And I just, and it feels good, too.
Yeah.
It feels good to work hard
Yeah, for
and
sure.
to, like, pour yourself into that. And I think when you're just lazy about it and don't do it, you just kind of feel bad at the end of the day. Like, oh, I wasn't productive. It feels good to be productive.
If
I
you
swear.
can't tell, we're a bunch of teacher's pets telling you should also be a teacher's
I should
pet.
just get a grade triple all A's and 4.6.
I have a 99. I should get some extra credit.
Yeah, no, that's a
No,
little.
we
That's,
did not.
That's a little bit too much. But
What did
know,
you average in college? GPA?
dude? I'm at a 3 something. I don't know.
3 something.
I'm in community college, bro. If
Yeah.
you're under,
I mean, I went to like the biggest community college, besides the big one in Columbus.
that community college comes here.
Shoot,
Buckeyes, I think, is their.
Yeah, the Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I know a lot of people go to that local community college. And here's another piece of advice: if you ever see somebody that goes to Harvard, ask them if that's a local community college. It'll make them so mad. That's just life advice with Wes. But no, work hard because there's no. It's just I don't know. People notice it and it's just so it's gonna propel you further along in life, no matter what. I mean, that was installed. That was really like put into us as kids. Instilled, yeah, installed. It was really instilled in us as kids from our entire lives. Is like, no, you work hard no matter what you're doing, you know. And if you're, reading a book, you work hard. You read that book, you know what I mean? Or if you're like, whatever it is, you like work hard and do it to the best of your ability, no matter what. Even if it's something dumb, something that just feels like so insignificant.
Yeah.
do it because that's just a good worth ethic for life. You
Yeah.
know, outside of a job, outside of anything. You know,
The other thing I'll say is have the humility to do any job there.
yeah,
I didn't want to start on dishes. I did.
yeah,
I got to be where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know, I'm working pizza. Doesn't matter. And I will not look at the dish person as someone who isn't as cool as me. And I know
Right.
these are like our, in a sense, petty terms of like, no one thinks pizzas is cool.
yeah,
But it could apply in a bigger job. Hey, I'm a detective. I'm not a beat cop. Blah, blah, blah. Don't let that pride get to you.
yeah,
Because
sure.
if you're not willing to do that job, I mean, you're never better than anybody.
yeah.
You know, and you might do a better job. That's just objective. But that attitude is just going to bring you down so fast.
Yeah, and a lot of things you do, especially later on outside of high school and college, when your job becomes a very significant portion of your life. Like if you're not, I think, trying hard in that and practicing good practices in that of humility and what a patience and hard work and all that stuff, it's going to be a lot harder to go home and have those same qualities in your home life where you definitely want it, you know, like
Right.
and I think that's why it's really good to just practice that in everything, especially in your job where you spend the majority of your time. You know, if I'm like, you can hate your job, right? But I still think it just, I don't know. It's just weird because I know a lot of people who just never cared or anything. And I was like, you just seem
Pretty much
miserable.
everyone we worked with in
Yeah.
the food industry.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like, you seem miserable. Like, I'm fairly happy to do what I'm doing, and we're in the same position. It's not because I like to do this any more than you do. You know, it's
Yeah.
just I want to do this, and I want to do it the best I can, and that feels good.
Yeah.
Little hack in life, if you try, it feels good. True story.
Yeah.
That just theory can be applied to so many things. You know, I just think it's interesting.
I think that's the last of our points. Do your best. Look your best. Know what you're talking about.
There you go. The three.
And don't be
Things.
afraid to try for something you're not qualified for, like astrophysics.
Seriously, because you apply for NASA, what are they going to do? Turn it down? Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah. I know.
You know what I mean? Like, they keep your file on record for like a year. Who knows? Yeah, always apply. Just apply. Why not?
Yeah.
Know what you're talking about. Be cool. Be confident in your interviews. And work hard.
Yeah.
Work hard. Work hard. Because no matter what, just work hard. If you get the cleaning the garbage at McDonald's up to the CEO of some companies, work hard. Work your butt off.
Yep.
Always. All right, guys. Thank you for listening and not for watching because there's no video this week.
Yikes.
But we just appreciate you guys. Thanks. Be sure to share it with your friends. We would absolutely love to get this podcast out there more. And the more we have it out there, the more guests we can have, the bigger.
The more coworkers you'll have work hard.
Exactly, because they'll
Listen to
hear
this
go,
video.
wow, work hard. Because they're so
Man,
inspired.
Wes said to work hard. I'm definitely going to do my job now.
I promise you that's going to happen. Yeah, share it with your friends. Share with one. Everybody listens to it. Share with one friend. We'll double in size. I know, it's crazy. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Bye.